Now I've looked at that fitting and I've checked it to see if it was tight. It feels like it's tight, and I don't want to. There's only so tight you can tighten up one of those because it's plastic threads and a plastic nut. You go too tight, you'll crack the nut. So I'm going to have to use my little insurance. And that, what do you think that is? That's this right here, Teflon tape. I'm going to take that out. It's a little roll of Teflon tape. And I'm going to use that to put around the threads so that I can get that nut on there, and that will stop any little bits of water. This is the nut right here that was leaking. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. And I just use those thumb turns there on the nut. Ooh. Hope you can see that. Boy, that's tight on there. And generally you can get it. Now if you couldn't get it, you could use a pair of channel locks to get that, or whatever. Okay, see, that nut was on there so tight, but yet it was still slightly dripping. That's why I got to put my Teflon tape. Ugh. That's why I have to put my Teflon tape on there. Look at all that junk in there. I'm unclogging the sink as I'm going, and I'll reach down in there and get all that before I put the Teflon tape on. Now, before we put it back together, you remember we got to put Teflon tape around these threads. This is male fitting, which means it's got threads on it. We're going to put Teflon tape around there. And when we install it, we have to wrap it around so it's going up and over that way, that way, that way. So that once the nut gets on there, as the nut is tightening, it's tightening the Teflon tape in the same direction. Does that make sense? If you were to put the Teflon tape this direction, can you see that once you start tightening the nut, that's going to kind of loosen your Teflon tape on the threads, and you could have a chance of it leaking. Did you know that? So yes, it does matter which way you put the Teflon tape on the threads. I'm going to try to get under there so that you can see what I'm doing. Normally I would position myself a slightly different way, but I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this okay. First thing of business is I have to find the end of the Teflon tape. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so think about which way you're going to go. Okay, see? Go that way. So the first bit I go on, I have to be careful so I don't want to drag it off. I'm going to kind of hold on to it like that. And I want to try to keep the Teflon tape tight as I go. I want much slop in it, okay? Now I can kind of let go of it and wrap some more over there. See, I'm kind of pulling tight, stretching it, and putting it on there. You see which way I'm going? See, when I tighten the nut, this is going to be at the end over here, and it's going to have a natural tendency to want to tighten right up on there with the nut. Now, how much do you put on? Put 3 or 4 spins around there. I'm just going to kind of pull on it like that. Okay? That's the correct way to install Teflon tape.